back to Spirit of the Outdoors. We're gonna do some trap work, trapping work, whatever you want to call it today. I have got to make some repairs on some traps. I've got to set up some traps, and then we're gonna dye traps. So I have got 2 big bags like this of black walnuts this is what I like to dye with, and they're at all different stages. We went to a friend of ours' house yesterday and we picked up a bunch of them. I've got enough and I'll keep them and I can use them next year. I know they dry out and get powdery, but when you put them in there and start boiling that stuff in there, rehydrates and they'll still work next year. A lot of people don't think they will, but I've done it for several years that way. In fact, I didn't dye anything last year or the year before. And I had some here I started to use. In fact, I dumped them right out there. Let me get one. These I had in a sack, and you can see I had saved them from the last couple of years, and you could still boil with all them, but I knew I could go get some more. I just went and got some fresh ones. So that being said, I have got some 330 springs I've got to replace. The other week, me and my wife had to go to West Point, so we went by Duke's, and I got me a box of goodies. So I have got 2 traps that I've got to replace all the springs on. I have got some triggers that need replacing. These triggers get bent up in the water rust, they break off. Got all the stuff to replace them. And we got some older traps. I never did dye any of my 650s, even the ones that I've had for 2 years. I just threw them in the water and went to using them. We're gonna go ahead and dye them since we're dyeing. Some of these are some Duke number 4s I've had, and you can see they got dyed one time, but it has been a long time. So we're gonna do all of that. The next thing that I'm fixing to do right now is I bought, for trapping coyotes, I bought 6 of these number 4s, these 450s. So we've got earth anchors that we're going to attach. I have got S-hooks. So this is it's a 450 OS offset jaw, double coils. You don't have 4 coils, just 2 coils. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and force a rust. I like to take a whole day that I just work on traps. It's fun for me to sit here and piddle with all this all day, but I need to be working on some other stuff because I'm just behind on everything. So I'm going to cut these tags right here off that say Duke traps. Of course, we'll keep 1 or 2 of them, but show you what I am about to do right over here. Let me turn y'all around a little bit. So since these are new, let me get this out of the way for now. This is where I hang up and skin some of my critters. I'm gonna move all of that out of the way for now. And I'm gonna hang these right up here. I went ahead and hammered me another nail or 2 up here, y'all. So I went to Lowe's and got me one of these bottles. You can get them for like $3 or $4. Spray bottles, they're pretty good bottles, zip bottles. I've got it vinegar, white vinegar. So what I'm gonna do, this will help degrease them and stuff, clean a little bit. But the biggest thing I want to do is I want to force a rust on here. So let me get these all sprayed down. So that way, it'll put some surface rust on there to help catch some dye. these right now are probably not gonna die as well. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Truthfully, the best thing to do with brand new traps is to spray paint them. I have got some traps I spray painted years ago that do well. Once you clean them, most of these we bury them in the dirt. It's not necessary you do anything. It's a tradition for me. I just like to dye them. And when I first started doing my trapping, everybody was going, "Oh, you need to dye." You don't need to do anything except trap. It improves and helps, and it basically prevents some rust. It helps with the longevity of the trap, because you see some of these really old traps that's been hanging right out here. I very seldom use a Victor Long Spring anymore. Some of these were actually given to me that they probably 75 years old. But you see that the mechanical parts, see how real floppy that is? You can't do a whole lot with them. It just keeps them working a lot longer, which traps are better made now, regardless of what a lot of people think. And you see this one had a nail in it. That is from where I dipped it in dye. It never even got used after it was dyed. It has just been hanging out here. It still has a little bit of wax on it, but I waxed and dyed them, and I put a nail in there so it would get in between the jaws. But we're gonna let this hang here. I'm gonna go work a little while. I've got some more traps over here that I bought last year, never did trap with. I bought 4 last year of these number 2 dupes. They'll work really good for coyote trapping. They're not a professional series trap like these are. You notice that the swivel's on the end. I've got these. I'm going to do away with all this. I wouldn't put these in the ground with this swivel for coyotes out here on the edge. It'll break their foot every time, or it seems like that in my opinion. So these I need to move to a center swivel. I've done that a couple of different methods. I don't know that I'm going to fool with these yet today, because I'm thinking I'm going to weld me a plate on here, do a little better job. We'll make a later video on that and put a D-ring right here and move this chain and all to down here. So we're going to probably save these 4 traps, do them a little later. I did take one of these other traps over here. I'm gonna go ahead and spray it before I show you. And I did some experimenting with how I was gonna attach. So I got that swivel, and I got a nail I've been around, and it's pretty solid, which allows it to also swivel in there too, instead of putting an S hook. So I may do them that way. I don't know. We're gonna do some looking, but these are the old number 2s. So what I done is I took the thing that they had it put in right here, and I drilled me a hole, reinstallated the same thing right in the bottom. I wanted to weld a piece on there and put a D-hook, and I may do the rest of them. We're gonna see. I just did this one to see how it was gonna turn out. And so anyway, that is the general principle. We got that earth anchor, and I'll see how all that works. But I know once we get these dyed and everything, we're gonna mount those earth anchors to this. Now these traps, you notice they have 3 swivels, so they a little better set up. And they ain't but like $17 a piece, $20 a piece, give or take. Worth it in my opinion, if you're gonna do a lot of this. And I think most of y'all that are getting into trapping is gonna do a lot of it when you do trap. So for the people that's trying to catch a few critters out around the chicken pens, probably not necessary. But if you're gonna dive off into, hey, I want to go trapping, get you some good traps. It'll be worth it in the long run, because if you halfway take care of them, they'll last you a long time. So y'all, water around there is heating up. I'm going to replace the trigger. You see this, and I got tie wire just twisted. When I get it off, I'll show you. But I'm just going to drill this right here out. Let's see. And you can see y'all my workbench is covered all up with knives and everything else. I may need a well, I'm gonna have to take this off to get it out of the way, I think. Need a, here we go. So these, y'all, they just kind of open up. Find something here better. And you can see I just stuck tie wire over in there. That was in a pinch and an emergency. And that's off. So now I have new let me close it up some right here. And I'll tell you what, I was drilling into that, but I think I'm gonna put my little animal over here because I'm fixing to need it. And then you got these little, say they somewhat dimpled on the inside. It is a little brad. We're gonna have to get this squeeze. I had to line that back up, open it up enough to stick that back down in there. There. I'm gonna take a punch and go down beside that, and that'll help set this outside. I'm gonna turn sideways. Once that's done, all right, look at there. That wasn't so bad, was it? Some of y'all been dreading doing that to your traps. Now changing the springs, on the other hand, might be a little more difficult. But we can do that too. And you see how I got my tags on here? I know people wonder about that. That is my information. It is punched into a piece of metal, rolled around there. I don't lose them as much that way. When they're dangling on something, over time they disappear. Okay. See, that opened up. That is not a safe trap. So let me see. I'm going to show y'all. See how that one opened up? It was closed. It is just like that one. So I'm going to change that. I don't trust that. Don't trust it to hold it. I'm going to hang it right there. I've got to bend me a nail up right here. I don't think that's long enough. God dog it. Jesus happy. That's why you keep one of them handy. Y'all, I'm gonna do some of these older traps first. I'm just gonna drop them in there and let them hang for just a little bit. We'll just let them go for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, something. Pull them out, look at them, and then we may decide to let them go longer than that. I went ahead and put a couple of my Duke 1.5s I had over here. If I can get a hold to them. Go ahead and did some of them. I may put them two big ones back in there. one 330 I put in there. Get it right there. I think this right here, number 4, I'm gonna put back in there. They didn't die as well, if you can see. They didn't get as dark as I want them. I'm gonna run them again after that's had time to do no more. I'll let them go in here for a little bit. Let's see what they look like now. A little better. Got one walnut, don't want to come out. It's a little better. You can tell they not just going to be black as midnight. Not near about like my shirt. Well, I wanted to do the new traps, but I just don't think they're gonna. I don't think there's enough rust. Let's throw one in there and see what happens. That's what we'll do. I might be pleasantly surprised. Who knows? And like you see, y'all, there's a lot of silver still on that. It is not. We got a little surface rust. Drop that thing in there. We're gonna let it go for a little while. Nothing else. We'll bury them in the dirt, catch some coyotes with them. It won't be long. They'll be rusted up, and we'll save enough black walnuts to. We'll boil again later on in the year to help preserve them. It ain't no big deal. I was going to go ahead and do making some lure and stuff today in this video, but I hadn't. I'm not going to get everything done. I'm not going to finish fixing my conibears either because I've got to come up with something to build some safeties out of. The 2 that's in there, the safeties are bad, and that one, the safety released while I was trying to work on it. It wasn't strong enough. They just gotten weak like the springs did. And I'll get me some material and Bill, I may use, I could probably use part of the old springs off the other one, cut them and heat them up and forge them into what I want. And that's probably what I'll wind up doing. But I ain't got time to do that today because I'm working on knives. I got people texting me going, hey, am I still on the list? I ain't got them. I'm like, man, I'm way behind. We're going to get them built, though. Don't y'all worry. I am absolutely sure we're going to get them done. So, and I don't know what this, y'all, is going to do. I know somebody's going to want to know about this aluminum pot. A friend of mine up the road, they were cleaning out a shed. They were fixing to throw that old pot in the garbage. It had got mashed. I straightened it back out round. I said, yeah, I want that. I need something to boil traps in. So this is not a pot that I'm planning on continuing cooking stuff in. It's just a pot. I really wish I had something bigger around, but that's going to do the trick. That'll do what I need to do for now. I'm just doing a few traps time, and the fact that that 330 will fit in there is all that matters. But I'll have to get my other 330s home, so I'm going to leave this setting here. I may move it up under the shed, but I'm going to leave it out to where I can fire it up as I swap out traps, and I'll get the rest of them boiled. going ahead right here and rigging up some chain on these trouts with these S hooks. So pretty straightforward. I have got just a length of chain. My phone says it's not wanting to work very long, so we're gonna have to work fast. About time for a new one. I done about wore this one out, running the batteries down. Okay. So what I am adding to it is I had these chains made with a big old washer that is big enough for me to drive them stakes in, and it go around them, the rebar, or some of it is 1/2 inch key stop actually. It's just some more, and I've got to make me some more stakes, but I'm steadily adding to my gear. Right now, crimp this S hook on this end. And this ain't the best chain to use, y'all. I've got several different chains, but I have about used up all the chain that I have, so. So I am just crimping this down with a pair of channel locks. Oh, that rolled, but it's good enough. All right. So now I have my trout. I've added this chain, and I've got, it's probably 8-foot chain. And you see what I done is I took a giant flat washer, put an S hook in there, crimped it down, and that way I can drive that through. So then I crimped that piece of chain right here with an S hook. So now I've got these on chains like I want them, because as I said earlier, this one is the other one. Here's one of the 650 that I boiled. All of my other 650s are in the water right now, grabbing, probably holding beavers, hopefully. Done the same way. So I'm gonna get me some more of them washers. I'm gonna wind up doing all of them same way. I'm gonna see what this one trap, I went ahead and cut that off. It's been going about 15 minutes, but it hadn't done. I didn't figure it was. I was pretty sure that it wouldn't, but hey. Somebody'd want to know, I'm sure. So that's what you're looking at. Brand new trap. Them surface rust, it really just took the surface rust back off. So we really hadn't done any good with that. Oh well, we fixing to put our earth anchors on there. So let's go get that done. So I have S hooks that I can put on these. I just bought 3 around here. So I've already prepared some of my nails, but I've saved the last one. I'm gonna show you exactly how I done this. Clamp that nail, left about 1 inch or so sticking up. Bend it over that way, about yay much. And then I'm gonna clamp it down in here. Grab this out here on the end. And I have effectively made me like a J hook deal out of it. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take my hole in the end, and see, now I have another way of swiveling where, had I used the S hooks and crimped them down, it wouldn't have done that. So very simple. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to clamp this back right there. I've got my cable in here. Let me turn y'all around. So with that in there, and that is closed up, y'all. Oh, and if you unsure, do it like this. Now we can always take, if we worried about that little bit of a crack right there, take these channel locks and it is closed up. So now this, see, that can swivel. So I have multiple places for that trap to swivel. And a coyote, he's gonna bind this up, so having more places, these plants back there behind y'all spinning around. So having more places for that swivel, when he gets briars wrapped around one part of it, it can swivel somewhere else. And they're gonna get wrapped up in vines, grass, depending on where you sit. Unless you're just out on dirt, they're gonna wind up with all the grass and everything that's around them going round and round and round. It's gonna wind up wrapped around all of that. I done trapped for too long, I know. So earth anchor is the way to go. I used to put a thing on there and try to drive a rebar stake through there. Here in Mississippi, early in the season right now, while everything is dry, works okay, not a problem. Up there where the ground freezes, may be okay. But as we get on into winter, and it starts raining a lot, and our ground gets rotten, we call it, and soggy, they will flat pull a 20-inch stake out of the ground. I done lost about 3 different traps that way. I learned my lesson. I said I won't use no more stakes on coyotes. They'll hold a fox, but you don't always catch a fox. I don't like using huge traps like 650s and stuff because I catch fox, and that is the reason I went with the offset jaws. So, y'all, this is how I do this. We're going to do one more right quick while we on camera. I prepped all these earlier, like I said. Knock everything on the ground, but it's not hard to do this. And I'm sure there'll be a couple of people that, oh, there's another way you ought to do it. I'm sure there's about 1,000 ways. This is the way I like and wanted to do it. Thus, the reason I'm doing it like this. It never fails. Somebody's always got a reason to not do something the way I'm doing it. So I don't even pay them no attention no more. I'm like, oh, I hate it. I hate I didn't do it your way. I hate now you think it's wrong. All right, I got to, I don't like the way that nail's bent. Well, it's all right. It's all right. It'll be all right. As long as it works. And I'm going to tell y'all, ain't no coyote going to straighten that nail out. These are some heavy, heavy nails. One more to go. We might as well do this and right now while y'all are looking. In real time. All right, I got them secure. It's what I like. Y'all, I got about 3 more of these I'm gonna go get and do. This is me modifying, prepping, doing all this stuff I'm doing. I still got a lot more I have got to do. We'll put it in some other videos. Thank y'all for watching Spirit of the Outdoors. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.